and we're good. We're good. I have so much light on me. It's kind of crazy how much light is on my face right now. Hey guys! So very different video today and a big grand old announcement. As you've seen already on the channel, there was the big book trailer video that I put together in a way to let you guys know about the story that I've written. As anyone who's been following along on Choose the Mouse already knows, a big part of the reason why I made this channel in the first place was to help with the process of publishing my book, giving a lot of people a chance to know of its existence so that people will actually buy it. If you guys so want to. If you're not sure, other places I've talked about this, if you actually look on the channel, there is a whole playlist of book-based videos where I've done artwork, shorts, some gaming content in regards to it, all sorts of things. This is a huge undertaking that I have done where I have wanted to be an author since I was 8 years old. It was about 12 years ago that I first started working on this lovely book here, Sacred Tears: The Dance of Iris. Now, I didn't work on it that entire 12-year period. There was a number of times that I stopped and picked it back up again from traveling and from moving, and honestly from bouts of depression and thinking that I couldn't do it and that I would never be able to complete it and I would never be good enough, all sorts of massive amounts of self-doubt and imposter syndrome and all that kind of mess. But I did it. I prevailed and pushed through, and now she exists in the world. She's here. She's alive. She's real. Sacred Tears: The Dance of Iris is a physical thing, and it's really hard to wrap my brain around that. This video is me not only talking about Sacred Tears: The Dance of Iris, but also doing a grand announcement of one of the ways in which I am releasing this book. Now, I will have it be coming out through your basic platforms of Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart. You can find all physical copies there. You have the paperback version, the hardback version, and the ebook version, or whichever one is your preference. One of these days, I would love to have an audiobook version, but I can't currently afford that. Which leads me into the other method in which I am releasing my book, and that is through Kickstarter. Woo! For any of you who don't know what a Kickstarter is, it's not quite the same concept as like a GoFundMe platform. It's one in which you are given a set period of time to raise your funds. If that money is not raised within that period of time, the Kickstarter is basically kind of considered a failure. All money that anyone has donated goes back to the person and the project doesn't go through. Mine will be a little bit different in the idea of whether or not my Kickstarter prevails and does what I was hoping it would do, the book will still exist. It's still going to be published, it's still being released, it's still going to be out in the world. But what will be hindered is that you won't be able to have easy access to a lot of the book goodies, and it's honestly going to make the release of the second book in the series a lot more difficult. For any of you unaware, when it comes to publishing book, not only is it a huge labor of love and a lot of hard work, it's expensive. It's very expensive. The editing process alone can range you anywhere between $1,000 to $5,000 just to get a professional edit of your book. The cover art can be anywhere between $300 to $1,000. Then you have the interior formatting of the book. Then you have the advertisements and getting it out there so people know that it actually exists, and any other extra stuff you want to have with, like, you want to do like book goodies and book swag and all that kind of stuff. It costs a lot of money and it costs a lot of time. And just because you published a book does not mean you're going to make a lot of money. Not in the facet of, oh, if she doesn't have a lot of people buying it, of course she won't make a lot of money. No, even if you have a lot of people buying it through the main retail services, that does not guarantee that an author is going to make a lot of money. A little peek behind the curtain, you have a system of royalties when you're an author. in that process, especially if you are an indie author, which I am, meaning version of self-published, you have a cut of your stuff that is taken out of your work. Same thing happens with traditional publishing, where they also take a cut of the profits. The print distributor that I'm going through, called Ingram Spark, recently raised their rates to where to be able to sell your book to any of the stores through them, you have to discount your product 40%. That means that retailers will buy copies of my book to see whether or not other people want to buy them and sell them and go through them, like Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Walmart, and so on and so forth. But what that means is where, for instance, this hardback book, which for the average reader costs $20.99, I would discount 40% of that price to the book vendor, and then you have my print distributor who also takes money off the top. So instead of receiving $20.99 from you, the reader who purchases this book, I end up receiving a total of $1. 12 years of work, pouring my heart and soul, spending thousands of dollars to put together, and I can get $1 off of a hardback copy. It doesn't seem right. It's hard to work with. It really sucks, but there's not much you can do about it. So the concept with the Kickstarter is that it allows me to try to recoup some of these losses, because at the end of the day, I don't want to have to raise my book prices. Like I said, my hardback copy is $20.99, and that's about average, maybe a little bit cheaper than some hardback copies. And my paperback copy is $14.99, about the same as well. But the problem with what is happening right now with these rates being raised for discounts for the retail sellers and different book vendors, it means that there are a number of authors that are going to have to raise their book prices, make them quite a bit more expensive so that they can make more than $1, more than $3 off of their work, so that, you know, we can afford bills and surviving. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to make it harder for people to have access to stories, because I find stories to be such an important thing. If you've watched any of the stuff that I've talked about, any videos, reactions, gaming stuff, you know by now, stories are so important to me, and I feel they're such a huge part in helping people find hope and wholeness and healing and passion for life, and a place where you can feel like you're not alone and that you belong somewhere, even if it's a world that's not real. Stories are so powerful and they're so crucial to helping us through really dark times, and I don't want to put any kind of barriers in the way so that people can experience that. At the same time, I can't just keep doing everything for free, because then I can't afford to make my own stories. You know, like for YouTube here, my channel is not monetizable at this point, so everything that I'm doing for free for you guys, and I'm kind of constantly losing money on a lot of the programs that I have to use to do the editing and buying of the games and all sorts of stuff. And I'm not trying to make this a whole big please give me money situation, but at the same time I do need something, which I don't want to do something for nothing. So with my Kickstarter, what I will be doing is that I'll be offering different reward tiers where you can get your choice between hardback, paperback, or ebook copies of my book. You can get just the regular versions of them, which is just going to be like your basic base price of what you need for the book, but then you're going to also have versions that will allow you to get signed copies, so you can get it signed by me, the author. But I also have quite a few special things to go with it all. So as Kickstarter goes, you have what are called different tiers, different reward tiers. So depending on how much you give towards the Kickstarter will unlock special goodies that you can get. So like I said, the base level are your non-signed paperback, hardback, ebook copies. Then you have where you go up, you can get the signed versions, and then you go up another level, and that's when you start unlocking all of these special products that I've made specifically for this launch, kind of to just make it more fun, make it more of a tangible world, more real, more exciting, because I don't know, if you are like me and a book nerd person, there's some stuff that's just really, really fun to get with new releases that just make the whole experience just like your own little personal Christmas. So if you remember, gosh, I think it was a couple months ago now, I showed an unboxing video where I was showing a lot of the book-based goodies. Those were some, not all, of the items that I'm talking about that are going to be used for this Kickstarter. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to show you guys the different ones, and I'll put up on the screen the different tiers. You'll be able to see the tiers if you go to the actual Kickstarter, which there will be a link in the video description so that you can go straight to the Kickstarter, no problem. All right, so let's talk about some of these other really cool things. So one of the first tiers is the basic ebook that you can also get a copy of, well, a digital download of a song that comes from my book. Yes, I have a song in my book, actually 2 songs, but one of the songs called Carry On actually is turned into a legitimate song. I hired some songwriters, some musicians who turned it into a full song so that you actually have something you can listen along to when it comes to that part of the book if you desire. In November, I will be releasing an official music video to go along with that I've made and put together for it, so you can have an idea there of what that song is. So we have your ebook, you have your digital download, and the digital download is pretty much available in almost every tier of the reward process for the Kickstarter. Other items are going to include the double-sided bookmark. As you go up, we have special character cards showing each of the different main characters in the story, where you have their artwork and you have little bits of information about the characters on the back. And these are pretty good quality. They're like playing card type. I was quite impressed with how they turned out. A set of 3 magnets to represent the wanted posters of our little criminal guys in the story. You have 2 different sets of stickers. You have your first one here, which you have an item that is actually technology based in the story, the sword of the main villains of the story, and a silhouette of our 2 main characters, Darren and Iris. Then a more cartoonized version of scenes from the novel, which I have done a video on that and how they were made with some sneak peeks from the story. Also available as special reward tiers are going to be 2 separate letters written by some of the book characters to the other characters. So one will be from Iris's older sister, written to Iris, and the other one is going to be from one of Darren's sisters, written to him. And they're both stories that kind of give a peek into their world before the inciting event of Sacred Tears. Another fun item is going to include a vial here of Iris flower seeds. I'll include with it a little how-to be planting and growing them, but you could actually grow your very own iris flowers to go along with the story of Iris. Other reward items include some special artwork that was commissioned for the story. We have different sizes. You have small, medium, large, depending on what tier that you get. So here is a small rendition of some artwork that you can get with it. And then the medium size of the prints. And finally, the large copies. So as I mentioned, a big part of doing this Kickstarter is to try to help raise funds to cover some of the money that was lost in the process of publishing this book, but also to help set money aside for the future so that I can get money for editing and the cover art and the formatting for the second book in the series, which I am already about 80% of the way through the rough draft of it. This rate, I should be able to get book 2 out same time next year. Now, book 1, Sacred Tears, The Dance of Iris, that is officially released December 5th. And if you're curious as to what other people have thought about it, the book actually has some reviews from people who got advanced reader copies already on Goodreads, Walmart, and Barnes & Noble. My goal with all the Kickstarter items is to get everything out to everybody by the time, like have it shipped about around the same time that the book is officially launched in all of the retail stores and online vendors. So that way everyone will get their goodies and their packages all about the same in time, and in time for Christmas gifts if you're wanting to do it that way. Again, this Kickstarter isn't a guarantee that everything will go through where everybody can get all their stuff that they're wanting to it from it, because it depends on whether or not it raises the limit that I'm setting it at, which is going to be $2,000. If I can get the Kickstarter to raise $2,000 at the very minimum, then everything can go out to everybody and it can be really exciting and really wonderful. If it doesn't raise that money, then the Kickstarter will give back all donations to anybody who partook, and none of the stuff will be sent out. But it's a great way that I can actually get the full price of the books for myself and not have to have such a big royalty cut off thanks to other companies and how that system works. Now, I don't disparage stores and vendors needing a discount so that they can sell your product. I do disparage the print companies forcing it to be such a high level and that they take so much off the top of it to where the authors get the smallest amount of money in this process. So hopefully this can help undercut that a bit. In the future, I am looking to adding to my personal website, which I do have a website, a space for an e-store, but it is taking longer than I would like to figure out how to create my own e-store because I am honestly not super tech savvy. I've had to learn all this stuff that I am doing here from scratch, and there's a lot that I didn't know how to do before I started, as you guys can probably attest to how the different quality levels have been throughout the different videos, throughout the different editing. It will get better in time. It's just a big learning curve, and I do appreciate so much you sticking with me throughout the entire process. I know it's crazy, but I appreciate your patience and your understanding and your willingness to have fun along the ride anyway. So this Kickstarter, again, is not a necessity for partaking in anything else on this channel. It would just be a really great way of showing your support, showing your faith in what been trying to do here, and a way for you just to be able to enjoy my story in a really extra special format with the different goodies and the different signatures and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to belabor the point and make this any longer than it has to be, so I'm just gonna kind of leave this off here, let you know again, here's the Kickstarter, the official launch and everything, October 25th. It will go for about 30 days. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye!